Yo, it's LAELANONYMOUS. You're watching 100 Miles from Home with Cul-de-sac.
I don't remember your name, but the feeling got me thinking you used to be good in the day. Way far back where we could people inside. We should chill, grab a drink, no one else, so it's good. If it's different, then we should be good. If it's different, then we should be good.
Alright, we're here. We finished the trifecta with this one. Well, I couldn't think of a better person to do the season finale with than Mr. LAELANONYMOUS.
Thank
Am I
you.
right? Yeah,
Very
so I
glad to
know
be
you
here.
said a couple weeks ago, you said you had the rock tweet cooking.
Yes.
So I can't wait till we get to that. That's going to be like the cherry on top of all of this. And
I think it's going to be a surprise. I don't think you're going to expect it.
I some of the rock tweets, everyone has had good rock tweets. I think Elijah Day had a pretty good one. He dropped a pretty good rock one-liner and stuff like that. Some of the people I was surprised. They had, I won't say weak rock tweets, but they had interesting ones. So I'm definitely interested to see where it can go. But by having you on, we get the third member of Cul-de-sac on here,
Yeah.
and I think it'll be cool to compare all the origin stories between each person. I think, and sorry guys, I think maybe we'll get the most accurate out of you. I'm hoping.
100%.
Is there some discrepancies that you noticed in the other two?
Yes, mainly with Chomsky.
Yeah, no, I was kidding. But let's get into that. Like, tell me in kind of like in your words, like how that kind of started, and then also just we'll segue to into just how you got involved in music and like your background with that.
Okay. So it all really started, like the formation of Cul-de-sac started with me and Jadoni. I'd known Jaden for probably like a year or so. We went to HEC together.
Yeah.
And I wanted to like rap and make music, but I had like no idea what to do. I was like, I feel like I'm so alone.
Sure.
And he said, you know what? I'll be your manager. So at first, Jadoni was not supposed to be a rapper. He was supposed to be my manager. And he said his prototype was like Earn from Atlanta.
Okay.
He was like, that's what we could be, like Earn and Paperboy. I'll do it. So that happened for all of 2 days. And then he said, yeah, you know what? I don't think I want to be a manager anymore.
Right.
I want to rap. I said, yeah, I
Especially
can tell.
him, he's a natural performer. I can't picture him in that manager role.
So I think that was when he went on a trip to New York.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd hit him up about it, and I said, you know what? We need to find like as many people as we can that are good, that like have not nothing going on, but like not enough to where they can say like I'm not committed to this. So
Sure.
I thought back, and I met Chomsky before I met Jadoni, but it was kind of like a brief passing. We played basketball a couple times at the Emerson Rec Center, but I never like actually talked to him till I needed some artwork for an EP I was working on. EP never came out, but first time I met Chomsky, which is nobody, like only him, like only he seems to believe me and remember it, but he got in my car, he's like, yo, I'm gonna go to Burger King, I'm starving. First time meeting him. I don't know why. So I said, yeah, all right, fine. So I go there, they were running the 10-piece nugget for $150. I get a 10-piece, I was strapped for cash. I was a full-time student, not working, spending all the money I had on music.
Right.
Chomsky says, I'll take a double Whopper meal and a 10-piece nugget, large fry and drink. And he says, man, I don't have any cash. And that was the first time I met him. And then
That's quite
later,
the introduction, yeah.
Yeah, we get back to HCC, and he says, you mind taking me home? My mom won't be here for another couple of hours. And so I said, yeah, all right, I'll take him home. And that was how I met Chomsky. Now, around that time, I'd actually met who was our producer and engineer at the time, M. I'd met him because I was doing a music video, and that one actually never came out either, for an old song I made under a different alias called The Maybe Story. And he gave me a couple beats from a beat pack. I really liked it. And so Josiah said that he was going to hit him up. I said, nah, I'll do it. And then one day we went to Panera Bread in a storm. Panera Bread was disgusting, so we said, let's go to IHOP. Cul-de-sac was formed. And that's how it started.
Right there in the IHOP.
Yep.
It's cool to see you guys, and I said this to everybody, but like the more and more I see you guys, or not like that I saw you guys perform and stuff like that, like the thing that I think is so cool is to see like three people that are have the same mindset. You know what I mean? The same just all in mentality or attitude and stuff like that. Like that's the one thing that I have said to, a mutual friend of ours who was on the podcast as well, Lamore Stevens and stuff like that recently, that like being around you guys and like and doing some of like the collaborative stuff that we've done like makes me want to work harder, because like I think that I work hard and stuff like that, and then you guys, like every time you see you, it's you're working on music, but then you're also like, oh, I got this idea for this, or like we're gonna try and do this show. It just seems like there's a constant flow of that. Talk to me about that. Like what's that like to just constantly be scheming and thinking of stuff, and what is that like, I guess, just to be all in with it?
Honestly, and I know for sure with Jadoni, it comes from the pure desire to want to be the best.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact that other people can think that they're better than me because they made it farther than I'm at the point. So it's like me and Jadoni, we all the time, I'm constantly hitting him with ideas. If you were to look in his phone, there are probably at least 100 song ideas that I've sent him that probably won't ever come out.
Right.
Probably like 15 that have come out, and maybe some more that will come out. If you start to look at, Soul Fruit, you look at his stuff, you'll see a whole. I think he's connected to two different shared notes in my phone.
Yeah.
And I have just ideas for multiple projects right now, and I can say it because I've confidently gotten ahead of it.
Right.
I'm about 4 projects in this year.
Wow.
3 completed, 1 still in the work.
Wow.
So we've been working and taking it up.
No, I've seen it just in the days that I've been fortunate enough just to kind of sit in and hang out. Like, it's cool to see kind of that process. Like, even the other night when I was there and you had got something down, like, that was cool just to see it kind of go from nothing to something and stuff like that. Talk to me about kind of like some of the influences you guys have. I know there was a few weeks ago on Instagram you had posted some of your influences and you were asking people who they were influenced by. Like, talk to me about that. Not even just from other artists in the genre, but maybe just from art in general. I know, talking from Jadoni, there's a lot of comparisons or not so much comparisons, but just things that you may pull even from TVs or movie or other outside mediums of art that kind of reflect onto your style. Talk to me kind of about that.
Okay. It's gonna be kind of weird,
sure.
But
I know it's a loaded question, I'm sure.
When I think of what makes up Cul-de-sac, I only think of the '96 Bulls. Mm-hmm. That is always my mindset. When I think of the people that make up who LAELANONYMOUS is, because there's just so many sides to how I'm trying to portray myself as an artist and who I believe I am. First one has got to be the Michael Jordan mentality in me. That's in Jadoni and Chomsky, where it's like, oh, you think I can't? It's like, I can't remember his name, but there was a guy, he kind of was trying to play Michael Jordan, and I think the next half, Michael Jordan dropped like 40 on him.
Right.
And like, that's always my mentality. Anytime that I think, and it's kind of sick. It's kind of sick, but sometimes in my mind, like we're like at the show we're performing, at the show we just did. I think in my head, these people think that I'm going to be the one that failed. So in my mind, I psych myself into it because I always want to see how far I can get. And like, I don't know, Michael Jordan's always been an inspiration there.
Do you feel like you put like that pressure on yourself and that helps you kind of perform or to meet like those expectations that you have for yourself? Like, do you feel like by being like, all these people want to see me fail and I'm going to prove them wrong, do you kind of use like that chip on your shoulder in a way to kind of push it forward? Definitely.
100%. I would say a conversation I've had with Jadoni too, that chip on the shoulder is it is the thing that's like driven us. We both feel like, especially over the past couple of years, this year things are kind of changing. We feel like we kind of gotten overlooked. People are like, oh, people who make music out here, everybody knows it, but they would like, people are like overlooking us. I'm like, you overlook me?
Right.
So, that's always the chip on our shoulder mindset.
Do you ever feel like on the reverse side though, and this is just me wanting to know because I kind of think of this for myself too, like, do you ever see the negative side of it? Like, do you ever feel like sometimes that because you're so driven and you're working on like that chip on your shoulder? Like, take the show, for example, that you guys did a few weeks ago, and we can get into that more. Like, do you feel like because you're so driven and motivated and operating with that chip on your shoulder that you're not able to, like, kind of smell the roses, like, in moments like that and appreciate it? Or do you find time to kind of reflect on that and be like, all right, this is cool. We were able to put this together and I'm doing this cool thing.
Yeah, and that comes kind of where the other side of who I am kind of comes into play.
Yeah.
I'm all about balance.
Mm-hmm.
So it's at times, and sometimes I do kind of like lose control of it, but I'll work. And then I'll look up and I'll say, you know what? I'm about a good 400 feet back from where I just came from.
Right.
I can look up and say, good job, get some ice cream, then get
Right.
back to it.
Yeah, I only ask because I know that was something that I struggled with, like playing music for a long time. Because kind of the same thing, right? Like playing in a band, like and going on tour and feeling like you're doing all the things that you're supposed to be doing. You know, like all right, like this is like the roadmap to being successful, right? And same for you, like not being like the cool band or the ones that's getting the opportunities, and then you'll get some opportunities, and you feel like things are changing. And then, you know, you put out a new album or something like that. And then you kind of ride that wave. And then it kind of ebbs and flows and stuff like that. And I did the same thing. Like I always say, I didn't operate with like a chip on my shoulder. I always said it was more like a mountain. But I feel like at a time, like it started to kind of be bad. You know what I mean? Like it was like, it kind of didn't allow me to enjoy, like, you know, and I'm sure you can relate, like getting up and performing and doing, like, being a musician and stuff like that. Like, it's a thing that, like, very few people get to do, right? Like, think of the billions of people that live on this planet. Like, how many people will have gotten to, like, set up a show and go on stage and do it not once, not twice, multiple times and stuff like that. Like, it's got to be, like, 1% or less or something like that. So I always try to remind myself, like, enjoy this because it's, like, a unique experience and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So, and not to get too hard into that, like, grind mindset, you know?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Chaos Theory, the show that you guys had a couple weeks. I know that there's some things coming up in the future that you guys are working on, and we can tease that a little bit later. But talk to me about that. Like, what was that like, not only from just being able to perform, but being a major component and setting it up and getting the different artists, especially in the time that we're in now, where that was kind of, I think for me, that was the first, like, concert thing I went to since all this happened. What was that like?
That was actually really it was really fun. Like, the only way I could kind of even describe it is kind of like what's the movie? Uncut Gems.
Mm-hmm.
Every day, me, Jadoni, we're on the phone probably 80% of the day.
Yeah.
Back and forth. Okay, did you talk to this person? Okay, we talked to this person. We got this practice coming up. We got to, get in contact with Mir Fontaine. That was, Jadoni was the one talking to him.
Sure.
So I'm like, okay, you say this to him, tell him we can get this. They need this. All right, we got to do this back and forth. So probably the 2 weeks before the show, oddly enough, is when it started to calm down. But like the first 4 weeks of when we announced it was nonstop. And then it got to a point where me and Jadon oh, we actually got to perform now.
Right.
So like the last 2 weeks, we kind of focused in on the performance.
Right. You're like, oh yeah, we're not just setting it up. We're like one of the headliners. Like, yeah.
But it was fun. Performing, that was probably the most fun I've had performing like ever. It was really fun.
Yeah.
The audience was really fun. All the people backstage, like it was a cut up. Everything was fun, man. All of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say all around just immaculate vibes from everybody. It was cool. I've seen you guys perform once before years ago, but it was cool to see you guys in this rendition, like really do your thing. I love the fact that you guys play with a band and that it's cool, like Soul Fruit, who's been on before, and Devin, who's another friend of mine, being a part of that with you guys and kind of seeing that. It was like a cool just group effort, with you guys there at the helm, and it was awesome to be there and shoot some videos, and you can find them on the Cul-de-Sacs page as well as Elijah Day as well, and the other artists. What was that like? I know we kind of just hit on that with like smelling the roses, but were you able to kind of do that, be like, COVID and all the hard work that you put in to set this up, like you said, 80% of the day on the phone? Was it cool to kind of see the fruits of the labor come to fruition in that night?
Oh, it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. And thank you to everybody that came. Thank you so much. We were so grateful. It was such a good time. But yeah, it was a really beautiful night. It was something that I think I'll, not just me, but all of us will be able to look back and say, like, this was the start of something very, very beautiful.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that everyone was there.
No, for sure, for sure. Talk to me about kind of not just in and of itself, the kind of like the alias change.
Mhm.
But what does that represent beyond just like a name? In the past, was it Lael Turner? Was
Yeah.
that what it was?
So,
And now you're Lael Anonymous. What does that represent beyond just? I'm sure there's more than just, hey, I changed my name.
Mhm.
Well, kind of talk to me about that.
well, so the way that I view art,
Mm-hmm.
I feel, and this is just me, and I put extreme importance on all the things that I do in my mind.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing that was important was for me to introduce myself,
Yeah.
introduce who I was as an artist, the things kind of that motivated me, the stories that I had to tell
Mm-hmm.
and that I hadn't previously been able to tell right. So it came all to a culmination when I dropped at the top of 2020, This Mixtape Changed My Life.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of the homage, the end of Lael Turner coming out as just like who I am. Like,
Sure.
this is all me. So what comes into play with Lael Anonymous is I feel that the only issue with me being Lael Turner is I'm only thinking from my perspective.
Sure.
So when I'm coming from Lael Anonymous, I'm removing myself, and I say that the only way that you can really see the truth is to remove yourself from it and be anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where that comes from. I want to be able to tell the truth about how I see things, about how other people see things, and about really what I'm going through, because there's a lot of things that, if they said, hey, Kyle, how do you really feel? You may not want to tell everybody how Kyle feels.
Sure.
So when I'm Lael Anonymous, I can kind of hide behind that
I see.
and kind of be more honest.
Right, and like speak for yourself, but beyond but also from beyond yourself, like
Yeah.
in a way. And I'm sure too, like even just from an artistic standpoint, like being just you and kind of being put, like I guess, in that box of just speaking from your perspective and things like that. I'm sure switching it up opens up a ton of creative opportunities and stuff
Yeah.
like that. You guys put out a mixtape earlier, you and Jadoni, called 2020 with Steve Buscemi.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that, like the process of that. I know like it was something that I'm sure a lot of work went into, and I know that you had M, right, who
Yeah.
did the producing and stuff like that. It's awesome. It's like something that I'm constantly have in my rotation and stuff like that.
Thank
I
you.
always joke and say it's like hard for me to listen to like my friends' music just because it's like my friends, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But like that, I'm able to just I'm able to just jam this because it's good, Talk to me kind of about that. I like the duality of it, that like you guys did it together, and then there's like tracks like Bloody that's like just you or something like that, but then there's other tracks where you guys are together,
Mhm.
and then there's a track like I guess like Baby Driver or something like that where it's just Jadoni and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I like how you did that. Like everyone, you had like the group songs and other features from people like Elijah Day and Chomsky and like that, and then had the single songs as well as the together songs. Like, kind of talk to me about how that came to be.
Okay. Well, and this is important moving forward in like the cul-de-sac lore, that was the end of what we call phase one.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like it was really important for me to announce like Lael Anonymous before that.
Yeah.
And there, so that way everybody could get introduced to the new phase two. But really, and I don't know if Jadoni ever really, I don't believe he did, we actually kind of envisioned, there's a whole concept behind 2020 with Steve Buscemi. It was supposed to be like, this is kind of like, they're called gap years,
Mm-hmm.
where you just go and travel and all that stuff. Like, this was
Right.
our gap year
Yeah.
in music, where we're getting to go and hang out with Steve Buscemi. The whole idea of the tape is actually supposed to be us kind of going on this summer of crime with Steve Buscemi.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's kind of very, very thinly veiled, just a coming of age story of us in cul-de-sac.
Interesting. I like how you guys do that. Like, you weave in lore and things. I don't know. I just appreciate that. Like, there's something that's cool about artists. Just like, here's the music and that's it. But I like how you guys do things like that, or even just the way that you guys present yourself. Like, I think it's just different, and I think that's like a good just I don't know. The thing that came to my mind is that, and I don't know why this. It's like the period at the end of the sentence. Like it just feels like right, and it just is like a statement, like kind of in a way. And I just appreciate that. That's like not something you see a lot of artists doing, especially artists that are like still independent artists that kind of like have like the vibrato to do that. You know what I mean? And I think it's super important, right? Like, because it does set you apart from the pack, right? I know that there's not probably a ton that you can say, but I definitely wanted to hit on it. What are kind of you said phase 2, like what are the future plans now for not only Cul-de-sac, but for yourself? And I'm sure you can't give away too many specifics, but just for anyone that's watching, what can they expect from Cul-de-sac coming up this fall?
I'm going to get real specific with the first one because I'm going to need everybody watching to put some pressure on them.
Okay.
We got a Chomsky EP coming out top of next year.
Let's go.
Another one I want you to put some pressure on because it's in the works. I've heard every track so far and I love it. The Judoni project, it's in the works. You have a 3-act project coming from me.
Wow.
Yeah, we have a lot of stuff like that. We have other smaller projects we're working on, but we're looking for 2022 to be a very full year.
Yeah, I mean, even some of the things that I've heard, like I'm just like, how do you guys keep up with this and stuff like that? But it's cool to see, and you know, there's a ton of cool things coming across the board.
Hashtag Chomsky pressure.
Chomsky pressure. You heard it here. Forget about Tweet the Rock. It's Chomsky pressure today. Where can people find you online and stuff like that? Whether it be Spotify, Instagram, any kind of socials that you want to plug here.
You can find me on all social media at LAEL Anonymous. All of it, Lael Anonymous.
I appreciate that. It's so much easier for us where it's just one thing and it's streamlined and it's a good marketing sense. As always, I'm sure as you can expect, you know, you're not off the hook quite yet. We have some segments planned, and we'll get more into this when we get back from our break. But I think some of my past guests are going to have a bone to pick with me because, you know, some of them we made eat jelly beans and stuff like that, and, you know, and maybe just got beverages at most, but Lael really, really lucked out here, and we had to go big for the season finale, and we'll get more into that. So if you're ready, we have some wonderful segments that we can jump into.
I'm ready.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Till I wet that. Everything that gets wet.
And you're not just getting a bev check. You're also getting a food out, all wrapped into one. You're getting a little 2-course meal. I thought about making it a 3-course meal with the jelly bean as the dessert, but after hearing about your prior jelly bean comments, I've decided to pull that from the menu.
Thank God.
Plus, I wouldn't want to put a damper on this very sweet, literally sweet lineup that we have. So if you're ready, we can get right into it. And I was thinking maybe, you know, just to start, we could start with a beverage.
Okay.
The theme for this one is chocolate milk. I don't know. Are you a big chocolate milk fan?
Love chocolate milk.
Okay, me too. Love me some chocolate milk. So the first one we have here, it's actually chocolate milk in a can, which is very interesting. It's the Slate chocolate ultra filtered milk, and it's also lactose free for anyone with some dietary things. There's 0 grams of added sugar, and it's naturally chocolate flavored. The one thing we've learned on this show is usually when things don't have sugar and stuff like that, they usually aren't that good. But we have a contrast that is like extremely sugary. So if you'd like to crack this first one, we could get right into it. It says shake gently, so maybe give it a little bit of a that was
The
interesting.
sound.
Yeah,
The sound already.
Right, let's say ASMR. Oh, here. All right, let's see.
Good pour sound.
Good pour.
Yeah.
I was thinking if there was any other chocolate milks in a can, and I said Yoo-hoo. But Yoo-hoo is kind of like chocolate water, not so much chocolate milk, you know what I mean?
It's chocolate drink.
Right. I wouldn't know if I would really say that it's milk.
Like Subway bread. It's not really bread.
All right, there's our, I'll keep this right here. If you, being COVID safe with our glasses, get a little cheers.
To the All-Father.
I have some opinions about this. Let me get another one though. Here's my initial thing.
Well.
Good initial sip,
Mm-hmm.
not good aftertaste.
Oh yeah.
The aftertaste to me tastes almost kind of like medicine. Are you getting that at all?
Yeah. I was gonna say, if you ever tasted, like, if there was diet chocolate milk,
Right.
it has like that diet aftertaste.
Yeah, exactly. It does have like that kind of artificially diet aftertaste. I was surprised though. Let's take a look at the nutrition facts here. So, 120 calories. So I guess it kind of, I don't know. I'm bad at that. That's pretty good, right, for like chocolate milk. 20 grams of protein, 1 gram of total fat. So, I guess if it's keto friendly. So I guess if for some reason you were like trying to be healthy, well, my first recommendation would probably just be don't drink chocolate milk. But if you had to, this would probably be the one. You think?
Yeah, I guess. I don't really know any other healthy chocolate milk.
Right. I'm a fan of. I just got some of like the Nesquik powder.
I used to love the Nesquik powder.
I'm gonna get one more.
It's not bad.
Yeah. I'm getting like when you were a kid and you had to have like the antibiotic that was like pink. I'm getting like that aftertaste a little bit.
You see, I don't mind drinks that make me grimace sometimes.
Right.
But,
If you had to give this some form of a letter grade, what would you give it?
I'm gonna say solid C.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's what I would do. C minus. It. The first sip was great, but each time it has like diminishing returns. Okay. Well, that was our Slate diet chocolate milk. The next one, I will say this one I had a little bit of a privy to have. I was at the store yesterday and got this, and it looked so good I had to get myself an extra, and I had it last night. So
Okay.
I'll try not to spoil it at all. But I saw this, and it screamed to me. Like it's the Snickers low-fat chocolate milk. So it looks like it's got kind of a Snickers, not just chocolate, but, peanut butter, caramel, whatever
Me and
combination.
Snickers have, like, a crazy relationship.
Yeah, me too. Are you a big Snickers guy?
I am, but
Yeah.
it also, Snickers have gotten me in some of the most trouble I think I've ever been in.
Okay, I'd like to hear.
It's a crazy story. If you're about to eat, maybe pause it, eat your food, come back to
Okay,
this.
I'm intrigued. Let's go. Yeah.
So my dad used to love, like they used to have like those Snicker cakes.
Yeah.
And I, at 8 years old, was really into science and just really into everything. So I said, I wonder what happens if I pee in a cup and put it in the fridge.
Okay.
So I peed in the cup,
That's a valid,
put it in the fridge.
thing to be interested about.
Wasn't pleased with the results.
Ah,
I was like, still too pee.
right.
So I peed and put it in the freezer.
Oh,
This is where it gets hairy.
okay.
Didn't have a top on it. Didn't realize that it was on top of my dad's Snickers cake. I just put it in the freezer. So he wakes up and he said, Leo, I saw you were trying to make an icing, kind of spilled everywhere. He was like, yeah. I said, oh, that wasn't the icing. He said, what do you mean? I said, that was my pee. And he immediately starts gagging. He's like, I ate the chocolate and spilled on my cake. And yeah.
No, I thought he was at least going to catch it before it was.
Yeah.
So are you scarred by Snickers? Are you able to?
I still love it though.
Okay.
I still love it.
My grandma like is crazy, like all grandmas are, and she like knows that, like I mentioned to her probably like once in my life that I like Snickers. So now like every year for Christmas she gets me like the most ridiculous bag of Snickers, and like I like Snickers but not like that anymore. And I kind of just have to be like, oh, thank you, like I appreciate it. So Snickers and me, we have a complicated relationship as well. Get some new glasses. That way we can just have a accurate representation of flavors here. Let me give it a shake and a pour. There's the, you should have seen it already. But this one, way more unhealthy. 250 calories. Way more fat. But that probably means it's better.
Yeah, definitely means it's better.
Definitely. I like to give it a good shake. I don't have nails, so this may take me a minute. Grace, do you mind? I got nubs. I have nubs for nails, so I had to. Oh, thank you. Also, when I opened it yesterday, Grace said I opened it like a psychopath because it was just like I ripped the entire thing off.
That's the only way I open Christmas
Right?
gifts.
Dude, yeah, you should see me getting like Amazon packages. It's rough.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that pour. That's the pour. Yeah. Thicker. It's a good sign.
Right off the bat, you can just tell that this is gonna destroy that one. All right, another little cheers.
To the All Father.
Right, so it's not what you would expect, right?
Yeah.
Kind of throws you for a curveball. Did you have it last night, Grace? Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
This is liquid Snickers.
It pretty much is, right?
Yeah.
Do you get like a hint of like a coffee taste at all?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one thing I noticed, but I think it's just like the caramel.
The
Kinda.
with the nuts.
Yeah. This one I'm about. This one I feel like it's one of those things where you would like simultaneously have to be drinking like a glass of water though, because it is just so rich. You know what I mean?
And you see now this really throws me off.
Right.
I
There's
was
a lot
not
to
expecting
unpack.
that. It's got a nuttiness to it.
Right.
It's it's not bad, the nuttiness, but it's like, whoa. I mean, I should expect it because it says Snickers, but
Right. See, when I drank it, I was expecting just like straight chocolate, but I don't know why, because obviously there's more to a Snickers than just chocolate. All right. Well, if you had to give this one some kind of a letter grade compared to the C that you gave the Slate, what would you give it?
it's gonna be crazy.
Okay.
I'm gonna go C minus.
Wow.
I'm gonna go C minus.
So you actually like the Slate one better than the Snickers one?
And for the reason you said, it's so rich that I think if I were to drink a whole bottle,
Yeah.
it would be a lot.
I drank a whole bottle yesterday, and about like the last 1/3, I did it just for semantics. Like I felt like I had to finish it. The first third was great. The second third, it started to go off
started
the
to
rails
feel
a
it.
little bit. All right. Well, I'm surprised. If I had to give the edge, I think I would give it to the Snickers, but it would be like if this is a C plus, this is like a B minus. They're very, very close. Awesome. Well, in case you haven't gotten sugar overloaded thus far, I promise that there's also going to be a food out accompanied to this bev check. So we're going to go ahead and make some room here. I'm going to clear off the table here first. Thank you.
You see, I give better ratings than, oh, that's fire. Take that, Elijah.
Yeah, he did say all that. I mean, to be fair, those were some banging French fries that we got.
Me and him, we have a rivalry.
Right. Oh, I'm sure.
If I text you that WID, you better text back, yes, sir. I'm writing everything that you need, Elijah Day.
Alrighty. Now this one, I'm excited about. We're gonna be all proper here with our napkins and some clean forks. There you go, Mr. Leo.
I know this is where I get into my bag.
Yes. So we have 2 cupcakes here, chopped down the middle, and we'll go over which one's which. And I may need Grace to clarify because we forgot when we were preparing them, and we had to look at the wrapper to make sure we knew which one was the right one. So if you want to start, let's start maybe with this more basic looking one. This one, I believe, is from Sweet 27. It's a local bakery here in Baltimore. We like to keep our attention to some local places, and you'll see their information on the screen. Don't need to do any kind of chains or anything like that. So if you're ready, we can go right into it. And I believe it's cookies and cream flavored. Interesting.
Yeah. It's interesting, all right. Peculiar.
It's weird for as rich as it looks, it kind of lacks in like flavor. You know what I mean? and we got it at like 5 o'clock today. So it's pretty fresh. But
Yeah.
I'd be interested to try maybe some other flavors. I don't know if it's just
What gets me is the texture of the frosting.
it's like kind of hard in a
It
sense.
was. I didn't think it was gonna hit me like that. I'm a big texture person.
Me too. And the cake part is like, honestly, it's kind of bland.
Did you have one chocolate chip in yours? Because I definitely had like one chocolate
I
chip.
think so. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I'm just gonna go for it.
Yeah, the frosting is just, it honestly throws me off.
Yeah.
It's like got a little bit of a mintiness to it as well.
I did get that a little bit, yeah. It's not what I was expecting. I was expecting like when I see a cupcake like that, that's just got the bright white frosting, I expect like just an overload of super rich sugar to the point where you're like, oh, but it was actually kind of, I don't know, dampened like a little bit. It felt like interesting. Got a letter grading for that.
I'm gonna go see for that one as well.
Okay, somewhere. Okay, I would agree. I think maybe just an off day. I feel like maybe I would be interested to try some other flavors that they had. But
What was the name of this one again?
Sweet 27.
Sweet 27.
It's right here in Remington, here in Baltimore.
I'll give it a shot. I like them.
Yeah. I think didn't we get some extras just because we didn't want to get one cupcake? What flavors do we have? It was like a carrot cake or something like that.
Yeah, I've had them before. It's carrot cake and then I don't remember.
Gotcha. Were they good?
What
The
other
yeah.
cupcakes? Yeah.
Okay.
They have food too. They do like vanilla.
And they have like a bar as well, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Well, this one looks a little more interesting, and this is actually from Charm City Cakes. If you know the guy, like the bald guy on the Food Network, that's from Baltimore, that does like the Cake Boss or Cake Wars or whatever. Yeah. Anyways, he owns that.
Okay.
So
let's see what we get.
It's kind of hard.
Yeah. A little thicky one, huh?
Yeah. This one's a little more cakey. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah. The icing. He did it.
They really did.
Yeah.
I mean, I would hope someone from the Food Network, right, would be nailing it, right? Did you want to try, Grace?
Yeah.
This looks like crumbling.
Oh, that's fire.
Yeah, there you go. I definitely think this one is the better of the two.
For sure.
Oh my god, that's good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, eat my mustache. What are you thinking for this one in terms of a letter grade?
Scarlet A. I'm gonna give it to him.
I would agree. Had good consistency, like you said. Texture's a big thing with the frosting. The cake part was very cakey,
Yeah.
which I like on a...
It was fluffy. It almost kind of felt like it could be a brownie cake blend. Like it was,
Right, that's what I was thinking. I like where it's like not too thick, but it's not too spongy at the same time. And I felt like this had a good mix. Sometimes you get like the cupcakes from the grocery store, and it feels like you're just like eating air. They're like so fluffy. You know what I mean? Okay. Well, there you go. You had an A here on 100 Miles from Home. Yeah. Well, hey, hopefully we haven't put you in a sugar coma.
No.
Okay, good. Like I said, I was going to make you do a jelly bean, but we're not going to do the jelly bean. We're going to spare all of us
Very thankful.
that experience. Speaking of experiences, though, this is a good segue. I'm proud of myself for that.
Good
Let's talk
segue.
about some paranormal experiences.
Okay.
And, this is a segment that we have called the Paranormal Pause. I kept it with just the Paranormal Pause because I didn't want it to just be ghost things or things like that. You know, if someone experienced some UFOs or Bigfoot or whatever, that would be cool. As always, I'm pretty interested in that kind of stuff. So I always like to see what other people kind of think about that. You told me, though, that you have some pretty crazy paranormal stories. Is that true?
Yes. So, Oh man, where to begin?
Okay, that's what I always like to hear, right?
Where to begin? I've had like the typical ones where like you're asleep and it like feels like something is on you.
Mm-hmm.
I've had the ones where which are more frightening.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sleeping, but I see something like a black figure standing in front of me.
Ugh.
Quite terrifying. I remember I was probably about 13-ish. There was one time I was asleep, laying down, and I don't know. To this day, it was hard to tell if it was a dream or not.
Mm-hmm.
But in the door, black figure jumped towards me, hit me, and
Whoa.
terrified me. I had one too, is where it was like it felt like my body, like my soul was like halfway out of my body
Interesting.
as well.
Have you ever done like the? I don't know why this made me think of that. Have you ever like done like the lucid dreaming or anything like that before? You ever heard of that?
I don't see, the thing about my dreams is I hardly ever remember them.
Really?
I like
That's
out
what
of
you were saying,
100, maybe
Grace,
like
the other
one.
day. You're saying you don't really remember your dreams either. I used to not dream a lot, but recently I noticed like when I was a kid I used to dream a lot. Kind of in like that teenage to young adult time I didn't, but now I feel like I've been dreaming a lot more. I don't know if that's a good thing. I guess I'm getting that REM sleep, but mine like never makes sense. But I noticed I don't really have like bad dreams anymore, which is good. Is there a certain paranormal experience that you have that stands out head and toes above the rest that you can think of?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this one, I was out of the country
Okay.
and I was with my father, and we were playing tennis. Yeah. No, I'm sorry, not tennis. We were playing two square on a tennis court.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad noticed there were these people watching us kind of like off in the distance.
Mm-hmm.
But, he was like, what's the chances like they're actually like really watching us and not
Right.
just anybody else
Just looking
there?
out. Yeah.
So regular day so far, except now I'm like, I don't feel good. It's really odd. And then next thing you know, my legs get really weak.
Interesting.
I like couldn't even stand up anymore. I just went from like totally fine playing two square to like completely like
And
weak.
this is like minutes after you saw the people?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And then colors, like what is normal sight, I now only saw green, red, blue. Like everything was like I was in like a disco ball. Like it was nothing was regular sight. And then everything started to sound really distant from me.
Right.
Like nothing sounded like everybody was right here. I was like this close to my dad. I was like, Leo, are you okay? And I was like, I can't really hear you. I don't know what's going on. By the time they see me like that, the person to get in their car, they look at us and drive off. Don't really know, and I'll never forget because Dad was just trying to get me back to the hotel room.
Yeah.
And there were people because he had given the I'm forgetting the name, the people who work at the hotel, he had gave them something. And so they were just coming to thank him. It was the longest thank you I think I'd ever felt in my life because I'm like, I think I'm dying. Do you not see him holding me in his arms? Could you please let us go? But no, we came back. I'll never forget because my dad is a minister. He prayed for me, gave me some water. I'd say about like 5-10 minutes later, everything kind of just subsided.
Interesting.
And that was probably the craziest experience I think I've had.
How old were you when this happened? You might have mentioned
I'll
that.
say about 10, 11.
Interesting.
I think because, you know what? UFC 10 had just come out.
Okay.
So I had to be 13. Because I think UFC 10 came out in 2010, if I'm not mistaken.
They always say, too, like, kids or like, younger people are always, like, more sensitive to that, too. You know? That is crazy. Did your dad, was he like, do we need to go to the hospital or anything like that? But then after it faded, you were like, I'm good?
No, he was like, Leo, sometimes these things happen. People put stuff on you.
Mhm.
He was like, his advice to me was like, you just, whenever things like that happen, pray up. So I was like, okay, man. That was a terrifying experience.
Interesting. I've had very few, I'm very interested in paranormal experiences, but I've had very few. I think the last time we did this with one of our guests, maybe it was Chomsky, I talked about like seeing something in Mike, if you know Mike, his parents' window. The only other one I have, and it's more of like an indirect experience, and Grace, you may know what I'm talking about, is Grace's parents had just moved into like an older, they kind of bought like an old Victorian home. It was like one of the first times I'd spent the night there. And I go to bed, and I told Grace in the morning that I had this dream, or like I even woke up like in the middle of the night, and I felt like in this corner of her room, like I felt like there was like a woman there or something like that, like in my dream and stuff like that. And like even to the point where I think you woke up, Grace, like I kind of did like the classic like where you like sit up kind of thing, and I just like as I went to bed, like I just kept staring in the corner, and it felt weird. And we were like, oh, that's weird, and think nothing of it. I think like a year or two goes by, and Grace's mom does like a seamstress work for a living, and she was this woman had come over and getting stuff done, and the woman was kind of wandering around her house while she was doing it, and she kind of told her that she was like a medium or more sensitive, stuff like that, and she was like, there's like a woman in like a red dress that I keep seeing here, and that fit perfectly without ever telling Grace's mom or meeting this person exactly what I felt like I saw in the dream that night.
Yeah, that is freaky.
And that was it. And I was like, well, and I don't know. I feel like sometimes when I go there still, I get a little bit of a heebie-jeebies. That's how same with my grandma's house, up in her top floor of her house. Like have you ever had that feeling where you feel like someone's like walking on your heels?
No.
Like they feel like, yeah, my grandma's upstairs. Like the rest of my grandma's house, it's like I basically grew up there. Like fine, like the most positive feeling ever. Walk up to all the way upstairs to like this one area she doesn't use, and it feels like there's someone like behind you at all times.
That's okay. So let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Do you think that like people had superpowers at some point?
That is actually a great question. I think that thousands of years ago, like maybe BC or something like that, humans were definitely either different than they are now, or were interacting with things. And I think we said this on the third podcast with Grufton, interacting with beings from outer space or a different dimension, or I mean, look at like the pyramids and stuff like that. Like a lot of like these old gods and stuff like that, like God of the Sky and like a chariot on fire, like that could maybe just be like interpreted as like an alien or something like that. You know, I think it's possible. I'm not opposed to that. What do you think?
I am a big believer that at one point humans had superpowers.
Interesting.
I don't think to clarify, I don't think that it's like we're like the most extreme example, like Thanos-ish. But I think like almost like meta-humans, like people were extremely strong, extremely fast, probably could like fly, maybe even do different things with their mind and matter. I think, and again, to Lael's beliefs, crazy mind, I think that all of it kind of comes from being like your brain kind of getting like nerfed, if you will.
I think I could see that. That's kind of what I was thinking, like we're talking about that, like kind of as modern society has progressed, with technological advances, we didn't need these superpowers anymore. Like, you know, and I think the same, like we were saying, I don't think it was like anyone was like Cyclops shooting like laser beams out their eyes, but I definitely think they had some kind of sixth sense, like so whether that be like, you know, psychic abilities or you know, strength, or even something like flight or things like that. I think that's definitely within the realm of possibility.
I think too. I mean, I remember one time, it's random, but I remember I was really young, and I love superheroes my whole life. Love superheroes. DC over Marvel. Probably get a lot of hate over that, but I remember, because again, my dad's a minister. He would take me to the church with him, and I would be at the altar praying. They're like, "Oh wow, look at Leo praying." They think I'm praying for something that's not me getting superpowers. Right. It's all I was praying about. I remember like one week I prayed every day, like, "Please just give me superpowers. I'm begging you. I'm begging you." And you know, there was like plants, kind of like these, like the leaves. And I prayed, and after I pray, I just see if I can move anything on my hands. So I would point my hands places. And I remember one time I saw like a leaf move, and I said, "Finally!"
Like, yes,
and then
prayers.
I look up and see that the air conditioner is just on, and it broke like my 7-year-old heart.
I remember I said something similar to my mom. I was really big into Dragon Ball Z when I was younger, still am, and it was like around the time that like Trunks and Goten were able to turn like Super Saiyan. They were only like 10 years old. And I remember like asking my mom, like, not if that was possible, but like, I don't know if something like that could happen, like if I could transform or something like that. And she was like, I think you've been playing too many video games. That's crazy. I've never thought about that, right? Like, it kind of makes sense. Like, you know, you always hear like when people, you know, when their adrenaline's pumping, they can do like these crazy things, like lift a tree off of somebody and stuff like that. So it's like, and there's always like the cliche, I don't know if this is true, but like, you know, we only use like 10% of our brain or whatever like that. So I think that that's possible. And I think that the rise of technology and media and stuff like that has maybe nerfed us or dampened us down a little bit.
I think what it takes is a complete lack of doubt. I think if you have like a complete lack of doubt in your brain, you could probably do like so much stuff.
Yeah.
And like that's what I'm trying to get to. Like I'm trying to get to a point where I like don't doubt. Like if I think if I want to do it, I don't think I can do it. I just think, all right, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
I think that's got to be like a key to it.
For sure, right? You would think, and like also I'm sure just like environment, like dietary things as well and stuff like that. Like I would love to just know what was going on thousands of years ago. I'm so interested by, you know, Egyptian times and stuff, because a lot of it you're like, is it stories that have just been translated so many times that they're hyperbole or things like that, or, you know, were like these hieroglyphics these beings and stuff like that? I don't know. It's very
Well, what would you
interesting.
be if you could go back then?
Like, where would I be?
No,
Where?
like what? Like, would you be like a warrior? Would you be like anything that you could be? Pick the letter. What would it be?
Maybe like a scribe or something like that. Like I don't know if I could be like a warrior or something like that. Maybe just somebody that did like the record keeping or something like that, or kind of was like a seer or shaman or something like that. Maybe that'd be kind of cool.
Scribe's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
You know who else has superpowers?
Who?
It's Mr. Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Did you like that segue? That was
Great
that was a pretty
segue.
good- Thank you. I'm getting a little emotional here. This is the last time I'm going to say this for a little bit. Just for a little bit, though. Stay tuned. For the last time this season, Mr. Lael, it is time to tweet The Rock. Love saying that. It hits home every single time that I say it. I'm sure you know what comes next. If you look off to your right in the yellow box, there is a piece of clothing that we have prepared. If you want to go ahead and grab that, show the camera. I think everybody, I hope, knows at this point what's happening. Look at that jersey. One of the best purchases I've ever made. Truly, truly.
People's champ. Let's
People's
do it.
champ. Feel free to put it on, hold it up, whatever you wish to do.
Do you mind 1 second if I look something up?
Please. Please do. Right. I'm excited. That's why I brought it up at the beginning of the episode. I want to build up the anticipation for this tweet.
Yeah, I just gotta make sure
Yeah.
that I am right.
We're gonna insert some pictures of The Rock right here. Build up the anticipation.
All right.
Okay.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yes.
It's my tweeted
No,
you.
not him, but yeah.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I challenge you to a duel for the People's Champion title at the Inner Harbor in Baltimore. You will smell what Anonymous is cooking.
Wow. Holy shit. Did you feel the air change in the room after that? That was crazy. Well, the gauntlet has been laid down. I think if there is one that The Rock needs to respond to, it's that one. It's not so much as a question as it is just a straight up challenge of sorts.
I'm gunning for the belt.
Hey,
I'm scrappy.
I don't blame you. The title of the People's Champion is, it's beyond just the gold belt that goes, around the waist. It's a generational title. I always said this, and I don't know if you feel this way. I feel like The Rock is like our generation's Muhammad Ali. Do you feel like that to a degree? Like, obviously Muhammad Ali was like, a real athlete, and that's a whole nother conversation about whether wrestlers are athletes, which they definitely are. But I feel like someone that transcended like their sport and kind of became like a pop culture icon. I feel like The Rock is kind of a
The Rock is he's put himself in such an interesting space
Mm-hmm.
to where it's like he almost transcends being human.
He really does. I mean,
Honestly, like the video of him with his finger broke and then he just snapped it back in and said, "All right, let's get back to work."
I mean, hey, like you were saying, demi-human, like demigods. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think if there is accurate representation for one, it is The Rock, right? Yeah, I mean, I saw this thing where it was like he couldn't get out of his gate. Did you see this thing? And he was going to be late to a movie set. So instead of like waiting for the gate person to arrive, he's such a considerate dude that he was like, I don't want to be late. And he's such a freak that he was like, I'm going to literally rip open this metal gate with my bare hands and drive my pickup truck out. What a just champion. Like, what a just great guy. Like, he doesn't want to make people wait on him. He's going to have to spend a bunch of money. And then on top of that, just fucking rips open a gate with his bare hands.
Yeah.
He's definitely a demi-human.
I don't know if he's any match for me. I've been practicing.
Yeah, well, I know, right after all that. And then you say that, that's true. I think if there's anyone that can give him a run for his money, I think it's like Stone Cold Steve Austin and you are like the two rivals that he could potentially have. If you like, just for a little visual representation, we could maybe take a little picture that we could send to him, and I think maybe that might get your message across a little bit more. Yeah, I think that's he's gonna see that and read it and be like, I don't know what the one guy's doing, but that guy, yeah, we could definitely tango down in the Inner Harbor.
He's not gonna expect what he's not gonna expect is the distraction.
Sure.
I'm gonna rock bottom him into the harbor.
Wow, well, that's what I was gonna say. What was your finisher? And the water's right there. I think that's perfect. Do you remember? I always think like when like CM Punk, he like hit Eddie Guerrero or Chavo Guerrero with the GTS and threw him into the. I think John Cena threw Edge into the water one time too. We'll have to do a wrestling podcast one day. There's so much to get to. Wow, I think the expectations that you had built up for that Rock tweet really, really delivered. And I think there's a chance that he could. If
he replies, just know I'm ready.
Okay.
I've been training. He's
been training. He's ready. Mr. LAELANONYMOUS is coming for that People's Champion title. Love to see it. Well, thank you, man, for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
If you want to let the people know, once again, we'll have it on the screen where they can find you, before you become the People's Champ,
Yes, it is LAEL Anonymous on all social platforms. For music, you can find me there, YouTube, all that. LAEL Anonymous.
And stick tuned to your socials. I'm sure you guys have some announcements coming up, I'm sure.
Yeah, we have a lot of things coming up, a lot of work getting ready to be seen. Stay tuned. What's it called? Put on my post notifications because we have a lot of stuff. You're going to want to be there. It's going to be crazy.
Yes, definitely. And if you haven't seen the other episodes of the other two members of Cul-de-sac, go back and watch those as well and piece together the puzzle. Although I think Lael accurately represented it here. I felt no bias from his introduction there. So as always, you can find all of us online at 100 Miles Media on Instagram. You can find me on Instagram at WoolXGod, as well as Twitter at WoolXGod. This is where I usually would say new episodes come out every other Wednesday, but this is our season finale. Stay tuned at the end of this video for a couple announcements in regards to that, and we have some fun things planned. Thank you. It was great having you, and it's been fun working with you guys and doing some fun stuff, and stay tuned because this is the last time I'm sure we'll see you on the podcast or on the channel just in general.
I'll definitely be back.
Yes.
Remember, hashtag Chomsky pressure, hashtag Jadoni pressure.
There you go. That's what you needed to hear. Make sure you tweet those. Make sure you tweet The Rock, and we will see everyone next time. Us from 100 Miles would like to thank everyone for watching the first season of the podcast. It's been a pleasure to sit with our guests and learn about the incredible things that they're doing in our local community. Don't worry, we have 12 new episodes coming in Season 2 coming later this fall with a new layout, new format, new segments. Don't worry, we're keeping one, and new everything that we can't wait to show you later on this fall. I'd like to take the time now and say a few thank yous to some of the people that helped us make this possible. I'd like to say a big thank you to Cul-de-sac Collective, Soul Fruit, Brendan Stevens, Mike Hale, Luke Nadeau, a few other friends of mine that have made all this possible. And as of course, my incredible partner who I couldn't have done this without, Grace, thank you. I love you for everything. We will be back soon. We thank everyone for staying tuned, and we'll see you then.